Tottenham TV, we have been beaten by Nottingham Forest 1-0 here on Boxing Day in what was a crucial game in our league season. We've been well and truly Nuno'd in this game, a 1-0 defeat in what was, in truth, probably it was a very tight game, but you know, we huffed and we puffed and we looked like we could play for another 3 hours and not blow that house down. I'm here with Amir to talk through what was and yet another defeat for Tottenham this season, a 9th defeat now in the league, only 7 wins, so half of our league games this season have been defeats. 9 out of 18 games leaves us 5 points behind 5th and now 11 points behind Forest in 3rd, 10 points behind Arsenal in 4th, who play tomorrow, so they'll have a game in hand. Anthony Elanga's goal in the first half was the difference in this game, but it was just, again, a very tired performance, a performance where we just didn't look like we could recover the situation as soon as we were 1-0 down. We did have a few chances. Obviously, Sells did have to make some really good saves during the game. But especially, again, in that last 25 minutes, we're chasing the game. We're asking this team, what have you got about you? What do you have in you? And Forest, we know are resolute. We know they're a tough team to break down. But still, you expect us to create a lot more than we did. And Forest, in that last 20 minutes, if anyone was going to score a second, it looked like it was going to be Forest.
Yeah, and that's the saddest thing about it is, Sim, you know, we brought on Bergvall and Maddison, for me, a bit too late. And even when we brought those 2 fresh legs on, we didn't have enough. We didn't even look really like getting back into the game and getting an equaliser. So it's very frustrating, and I don't really know where we go from here, Sim, because I'm also quite confused about the football looking at this game. So many times we got into decent areas, we're on the edge of the box, and we just end up losing the ball and doing some really, really silly kind of basic errors, basic mistakes, and giving silly fouls away. And I feel like we just played into Forest's hands. They knew how we'd set up. Nuno had his tactics set up the way he did. Yes, Spurs will have 70% of the ball, but we'll score and we'll be solid at the back and we won't concede and we'll win. And that's exactly what they've done. Full credit to Forest, because I do think overall they do deserve the 3 points for the defensive stability. And they had that one opportunity with Elanga from a little giveaway again on the edge of our box. By Jed Spence, who also got sent off for two silly yellows. And overall, it just becomes a very, very frustrating Boxing Day for us.
Yeah, it's just a game where, again, you're looking for new energy. You're looking for reaction, especially to Sunday. And we started the game all right. We had a few openings. We had like a 4-on-2 early on. Son had an opportunity where he just had his head down. If he gets his head up, he can see Brendan Johnson just at the back post there. You had Brennan had a couple of early moments as well, forcing a couple of good saves out of Matt Sells. And we're looking all right. And then Forest just hit us on a brutal counter-attack. Spence, as you say, on the edge of the Forest box, couldn't protect the ball. Morgan Gibbs-White carries the ball all the way from the edge of the Forest box all the way to deep inside Tottenham's half, plays a through ball to Elanga. He's in on goal. He beats a doggy to it and he comfortably plays it past Fraser Forster into the back of there, making it 3 goals and 3 for him.
Very good finish.
It was a very good finish, and obviously, you know, it's the last thing you want is giving a team like Forest a 1-0 advantage, especially in the circumstances that we're in. We tried to score early. We couldn't do it. We missed some chances, albeit they weren't clear-cut chances. There were chances which Sells did have to make good saves, but they weren't chances where you really expect Tottenham to score from, as much as we did probably force good opportunities from it. And look, a second half, you know, you come out, and I thought Bentancur was having a bit of a shock. I was surprised he didn't come off half time.
Should have been hooked at half time.
Take him off. Actually, I think Bergvall again comes on and makes a decent cameo. So I think he should have come on a lot earlier. But second half was getting away from us. You know, they had that chance where Forster claws out a cross, and then Morgan Gibbs-White has the follow-up shot, which was saved by Forster. And then we have probably our big moment of the second half, where a ball comes into Brendan Johnson. He does a brilliant nutmeg volley touch in between, I think it was Murillo's legs,
He's got to score there.
and he has to score.
He's got to score.
He just Matt Sells to be just outside the 6-yard box, then he hits it straight at Matt Sells.
Look,
all our good chances seem to fall to Johnson today.
And he was the most likely out of all the players, and he did look bright, but the touch is kind of like a bit of the best you've ever seen and then the worst you've ever seen, because the touch and nutmeg to create the opportunity was unbelievable. All he's got to do then is slot the ball past Sells, and it's probably one of the best goals you've ever seen Johnson score. But he's kind of rushed the finish, and he's kind of hit it within the vicinity of Sells. Sells has just managed to stick a leg out, and it's a fantastic save at the end of the day. But that would have been 1-1 and us back in the game, but unfortunately it wasn't to be.
Yeah, that was probably Tottenham's probably only moment. I can't remember too many other moments we had in that second.
No,
half.
we had a few shots. Madison there was
had
some
a couple
good
of
play.
efforts.
Yeah, there was some good play from Johnson as well. Good save from Sells as well. We did look a little bit more threatening, but again, it wasn't enough to say that we deserved an equaliser or we were banging on the door for those last 30 minutes. We weren't, and like you said, Forest had the best chance.
Yeah, they had the best chance. And if anything, if you're Nuno and you ask him how would you want the game to play out, that's probably how we'd want it to play out. Exactly how it did.
Exactly how
it
did.
Probably went perfectly to plan. And
Yep.
we struggled to really penetrate what we know is a very resolute Forest defence. We know they've been very good this season. Nuno's got them really well drilled, and they're really hard to they're very hard to break down. They're very hard to find. And I think that early goals against a team like Forest, early goals very important. Yeah, we just couldn't get it.
They're defensively, the way they're structured defensively is so solid. It's so hard to break down the structure. The way they sit back, the way the defenders are close to each other as well. They don't allow too much space in there for us to operate, and that's why we kept coming back all the time, trying to draw them out, trying to create a bit more space, but we couldn't find it today.
Just wasn't there. That just wasn't there.
Wasn't there.
You got to give credit to Forest because they're doing a fantastic job under Nuno. They're now third in the league.
Yep.
It's a brilliant win. It's now 5 wins in their last 6 games as well. They're on a great run of form, and it's a weird one because if I look at individuals, if I look at our back four or our back line, I actually thought Elanga and Hudson-Odoi were quite well dealt with by Spence and Udogie on the most part. It's obviously just that one moment where Elanga gets free, which is where they got the advantage. I think midfield struggled a bit in terms of Gibbs-White was probably their best player.
For me, it was second balls. We couldn't win anything in that midfield. We weren't winning the second balls. Forest, they were almost like half a yard quicker than us all over the pitch and in the tackle and in the bite, and they just had too much for us today, Sim. Just overall better performance, player for player, man for man.
Ali Anderson and Yates were just dominant. I felt in that middle, especially in the defensive phases of the game. Like I thought, once when we were in their half, we couldn't get. They got those 2 defensive midfielders. They got those 2 strong centre backs, 2 physical centre backs as well. Murillo, quick, aggressive. Solanke wasn't getting any spare change out of him.
Nothing. Solanke was isolated the whole game.
Aerially, Milenkovic gobbling everything up. I think Decky struggled to get beyond Yates and Anderson at times. He looked also maybe overplayed. Didn't look his sharpest. Look, maybe it's not a surprise that Brennan looked the sharpest given the fact he's been out of the team.
Yeah,
he's had some rest.
Yeah.
But albeit goes to the opposite. That doesn't back up when you look at Bentancur, who's had a lot of rest, and he looked just completely.
But he's just not match fit, Sim. He was a half yard off everything today.
On the ball and off the ball.
And he's a brilliant player. Don't get me wrong. I love Rodrigo. I think he's phenomenal, but he was just not ready for this match today. Maybe it would have been better to play Basuma, but this is all hindsight, right? Play Basuma and give Bentancur the 35 minutes he needs to build up that match fitness. But Ange thought he was ready. He was clearly not.
He was off it today. I think had a bit of a shock, and it should have been hooked. I think you could see in that first half, his passes were going astray.
Everything.
He
late
wasn't
to challenges.
late
second
to challenges.
Balls, not there. Nothing. The usual Rodrigo that you would expect to be there and to be dominant in that position just was not there today. And it cost us. It cost us. But I don't think you can look at one player. I think it's overall. It was the whole team. We weren't good enough. As a team, we weren't good enough. As a front three, an attacking force, and Kulu
Too
there,
easily stifled.
way too easily, Sim. And I'm a bit at a loss, mate, of where we go from here, because you look at the season we've had so far, and you look at those losses. 9 losses in the Premier League. That is probably the worst form we've had in like 15 years or so.
Long
really,
time.
in the league, So I'm really worried and nervous about where we go from here. I'm not sure in which direction.
It was such a weird one, because it's like the complete opposite probably to the Liverpool game, in terms of Liverpool's just pure chaos, where we could score, we were just so open, they could score at will. And this game was very different. They sat back and we were the ones asked to like probe them. We just couldn't break them down, and they got their chance, and they scored their chance, and we had some half chances really, but we couldn't really create anything of substance in this game. We're not the first team to struggle against Forest's defence this season, but in the circumstances that we're in, we needed a result today, and we needed the players to pull something extra out of the bag, and they just weren't capable of doing it.
As much as this is going to hurt, what I'm going to say, I think it has to be said. I think Ange Postecoglou has been outdone by a better manager today.
He's been Nuno'd.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
Nuno played the perfect game, and Ange didn't have any answer to it.
Nope.
And his changes tried to influence the game. For a moment, it looked like Bergvall Madison injected something into it, but
they brought something. They definitely spiced things up, but it wasn't enough.
When you're looking to break that door down, you're at the end of the game, and you're looking to real pile on the pressure, throw the kitchen sink at them. They just dealt with it comfortably. We were making silly fouls. We were being naive, making fouls in stupid situations, allowing Forest to kind of take a breather and every time we did that, it's another minute gone. They can just sit down and set everyone up for a free kick and get everyone forward, and it takes us even longer to kind of get back into their half. And we struggled badly, really. We struggled badly to kind of break Forest down. And the wingers, Sonny, I'm sorry, I think Ola Aina just had him for most of the game. He couldn't really get away from him. No. Brennan gave Nico some trouble, I guess. I think Brennan, you've got to give him a bit of credit, but Solanke as well just couldn't do anything against the Forest defence.
There's no service for him either. There's no, when we so many times there today, we got into dangerous areas where you can whip a ball in, you can cross it in, and we would cut back, we would play another ball, and 9 times out of 10, we would just lose the ball. And it really beggars belief to expect us to score goals when we're not creating enough for our number 9. And I feel for Dom, because you know what, when you do provide for him, even off scraps he scores, and we really have to do better in that final third in terms of chance creation and getting more men into the box as well. He's so isolated there. He's the only one, and he's got 2 men on him. It's easy for the defence.
According to the stats, it was 70% possession for Spurs, 1.28 XG for Tottenham, 1.21 for Forest. It was very close. 1 big chance each. Obviously, Forest took theirs and we didn't. Yeah. 10 shots to Forest, 13 for Spurs, 4 shots on target for Spurs, 3 for Forest. We had 7 corners. They had 2. Look, it was a very frustrating performance from Tottenham. I think on another, like, if we were having a different kind of season, this is the kind of game where you probably just say, like, we tried to break the door down and we couldn't, and it's a frustrating game. But because of the season we've had, you lump it in with the number of very poor performances that we've had in recent weeks. Like, I don't come away with it thinking it was like we were horrendous, but we were poor. I think there's no doubt about it. Like, it wasn't as bad as it was on Sunday, like where we were just carved open like a Christmas turkey. But I think it was one of those where, we were huffing and puffing, and just there was nothing we could do with that in our power to blow that Forest wall down, that house down. And Forest were way too comfortable for my liking in terms of being able to defend against us. Way too comfortable, and they shouldn't be that comfortable. All the talent we have on the pitch, they shouldn't be so comfortable. But On top of that, first of all, Jed Spence gets a red card, which rules him out for the game on Sunday. So, again, I don't think he was having a bad game, but, you know, I think pettiness from him. He threw the ball away, which got him 1 yellow, then a stupid foul in the 90th minute to get himself sent off, you know, showing maybe a bit of inexperience or, you know, whatever word you want to say, unprofessionalism for those
Both.
two moments.
Bit of both.
And as well, which could even be more damaging, is Dragoshin picked up an injury in this game, goes off
Doesn't look good.
late in the game. I don't know how long he'll be out for now, which is our fourth centre-back to go down with an injury. On the bright side, Anne did say that Davis might be fit for Sunday, so if that's the case, he could come back in. But again, you know, we're still lacking in numbers in that position, and it's really costing us at the moment. Again, we're clearly struggling with fitness. We're clearly struggling with freshness,
Manpower.
Forest just looked that little bit sharper than us today, and that really told in terms of getting the result and in terms of Spurs getting any advantage physically.
We're fatigued, big time.
Yeah, you can see that.
You can see it.
You can see it on the
It's
team.
clear. It's clear as day. Honestly.
Decky being shoved off the ball in moments where he wouldn't be shoved off.
Yep.
You just look at who our brightest players were. Doggy, I thought, was one of our brighter players as well. He's been rested or been injured. He's been out.
Yeah, he was a bit fresher.
Brennan's been rested and he looks a lot fresher. And, that's not a shock to me.
But
Gray as well, I didn't think had a bad game.
No, he didn't. But is that down to the management, though? Because you're not managing the squad well enough and giving players enough minutes and resting enough? Or is that really just down to the injuries?
I mean, the injuries is leading to a lack of management, lack of managing of the squad. It's like
because he has no options.
He has to play the same. He's only got certain players available, and they all have to play, and they all have to try and muster it up, and it's hard at the moment.
It's all hands on deck situation, and there's not enough hands.
You add into the fact that this Premier League is so competitive compared to previous years. You have a drop off. Maybe in previous years, it's not so bad. You have a drop off in this year. You got bloody Forest in third. You got basically the top 14 teams, 13 teams. They're all. You have a drop off against any of them, they can all beat you. You have to be your best in every game now, and that is just not the case for us at the moment. We're struggling to sustain off our levels, and it's a struggle, man. It's a big struggle right now for where we are on the table. Look. No doubt about it. The table doesn't lie at the moment, and we're 11th place again after that loss. 9 defeats, 7 wins after 18 games. We're 1 game away from the halfway mark. We're now we're 5 points away from, we're 6 points away from 5th now. We're 10 points away from top 4. 11 points away once Arsenal win tomorrow against Ipswich. With each game passes, that gap is growing bigger and bigger and bigger. There's no denying it. Obviously, the gap at the moment is still 6 points with just over half a season to go. So 6 points is,
it's doable in 18 games. But the way we're playing, we can't continue, can't continue this form. And expect
the
anything
reality is
from this
we've lost
season.
4 of the last 5 games now, with that 1 win being against Southampton, who are bottom of the league.
Yeah.
We're dropping like a stone. That's the reality. There are circumstances why we're dropping like a stone, but we are dropping like a stone. And again, people will say Ange and tactics. I don't think today was because of the tactics of being gung-ho or anything like that. I don't think that was the reason for the loss today.
I don't even think we were gung-ho today.
Yeah, you could argue that. Maybe we didn't test them enough going forward. Maybe we weren't aggressive enough. But the reality is, you can see this team was out on their feet, and it's a struggle to see how we turn this around right now. It's a real struggle, and the pressure's going to keep piling on Ange. We've got big games coming up in the next few weeks. The semi-final of the Carabao. Yep. We've got Arsenal coming up away from home not so long. Big Europa League games as well coming up. We've got 8 games next month, not including the game against Wolves. We've got 8 games, huge. 2 big Europa League games where we have to kind of get 4 points out of those 2 games.
Elfsberg and Hoffenheim.
To get in that top 8, we need 8 points really. So we need sorry, not 8 points. We need 4 points.
4 points from those
4
two.
Points from those
and
two.
And it's Elfsberg and Hoffenheim.
Elfsberg and Hoffenheim. Again, not impossible, but the way we're playing, we're struggling.
Away at Germany will be tough, mate. Away out there.
The problem is every game's a struggle right now. Every game is a struggle.
Every game.
And the problem is it's like a circular kind of self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, because like the more we struggle, the more you want to put more into it and try and get yourself out of that situation. The more you do that, the more you exert yourself, the more like you're leaving yourself fatigued and injuries and all these different things, and it's leading to right now what is Tottenham just out on their feet, and we can't seem to turn this around. Look, I don't see how a new manager right now in the short term changes things, because they're going to have the same injury crisis to contend with. Do they get results, better result? Well, look, at the end of the day, you can't get the results at the moment, can't be much worse with 4 defeats out of 5. That's true. But does a new, like, let's say we bring in Iraola, who's also a very intense manager, who's also very big on his high pressing, and that's how he plays. Is he going to be getting better results right now with the squad? It's difficult to see that.
It's difficult to say. But I also don't want a new manager right now. That's not what I want. I want this manager and this team to start performing and play better. I want to see what this team is capable of when we do have our full squad available. And I'm willing to give Ange these next few months to get it right. But I think as a fan base, we all need to pull together. And I think this is part of the problem. Levy's got the fan base just where he wants us, with the Ange in, Ange out, people bickering. It's the same old thing. We've been through it, manager after manager after manager. I'm fed up of it. I'm sick of it. I think a lot of other Spurs fans are sick of it. I think we really do need to kind of find a bit of unity within the fan base. And people say, oh, you can't do that. You can't. Well, how have Forest done that? How are Forest United now, and they're third in the league under Nuno, without all this crazy big spending, crazy amounts of money? They're doing it on a budget, on a shoestring, and they're there and thereabouts. So why can we not, get to that point where we're united as a fan base? That's where I'd like to see us. And I'd like to see people get behind the team, get behind Ange, regardless of these bad results that we've been going through. Because you back your team through thick and thin.
100%.
And through the good times and through the bad times. And I think this is probably the baddest of times we've had over the last 5-6 years. It's very
You just got to remember, this is like, in terms of what you're saying about the ownership, like this has been this kind of season, as much as we've had bad seasons, in the last few years, but since Poch, this kind of season's been building. And you got to remember, like, we lost Kane, and Kane,
of course.
how many games did Kane bail us out of?
He saved us time and time
like,
again.
We would have performances like we'd have today.
Sim, I can remember being at Brentford with you a few years back, right? And we just rescued Kane, rescuing us again. He kept us at that
Exactly.
4th, 5th, hovering
how many
around
performances
there.
did we have like today, where Kane would just
out of nowhere,
yeah.
score a goal. Oh, tons.
And we've lost that. And yes, we brought in Solanke, who's a good player, but he's no Harry Kane.
It's not the same.
And it's not the same.
It's
He's
not
not
the
going to
same.
do it like Kane. And look, I know it's we've been without Kane now for 18 months, but there's always going to be a big adjustment. Like, and it was. I know we got 5th last year, and this year we're in 11th right now, and we are massively struggling in the league at the moment. We're struggling to keep up the levels, and everything is going against us right now, and we're not playing well. That's just reality. We're in very, very poor form, and Ange is under serious pressure. I don't doubt it.
Mate, we lose to Wolves, and I think that'll be too much for Levy, I think. If we lose to Wolves.
Maybe. I mean,
10 losses at the
10 losses
halfway point of a
and
season.
7 wins. I think he's going to. I just got a feeling he's going to allow him to ride out this storm, because we're in a storm at the moment, and we are struggling. We are struggling badly. I mean, is Ange doing enough? I mean, I'm looking at today, and I'm looking at where can I blame Ange? Is it selection? I mean, I didn't mind the lineup.
We both like the lineup.
Is it like the way we're playing? Are we too open at the back? Are we conceding too many chances? I mean, we conceded a big chance to Forest, which they scored from, but I thought by and large, I mean, when we were going for it late on, they had some counters, but other than that, they don't really have too much. Is it? Are we not good enough going forwards? That was probably we were probably too easily contained today. But is that Ange's fault? We're the top goal scorers in the league, where there's a reason for that. Is that because if you can't be that if you're not good enough going forward? you know, are the players? Is it because the players are running on empty? Is it because the players are lacking certain things right now when it comes to energy, or when it comes to, what is it, leadership, or is it just a young team who can't figure their way out of this situation? It's difficult to put your finger on. Exactly.
All of the above,
it's a lot of
maybe.
problems.
All
It's
of
a
the
lot
above.
of different problems, I think,
Yeah.
right now, and we are massively struggling when it comes to the league.
Big time. Big time. Could these cup competitions be a saving grace?
Maybe. Because cups, you just have to go for it, don't you?
You
Both
do,
teams,
you
because you have to
do.
go through to the next
And
round.
you also need a bit of luck. I know people are going to think that's, relying on yeah. But it's true in football. Sometimes you do need a bit of luck, right? If we had a bit of luck today, maybe those early bookings for Forest, they would have got those, and they would have had a player sent off instead of us getting Spence sent off late in the game, and we might have had a chance to get back in it. But we're clutching at straws, Sim. We're clutching at straws. We need to be a lot better. We need reinforcements in January.
Definitely need
We need the board
reinforcements.
to back the team and the manager. They can't expect to sell our best player, and that the team will progress. We're seeing other teams like Fulham, Bournemouth, Forest, Newcastle, they're all leapfrogging us. And there's reasons for that, because they're all...
And everyone's getting smarter as well. All these other teams are getting smarter.
Of course, they're learning the league. They're learning how to do
They've
the
all got money
Brightons of the
now.
world. They've got the money. They're buying the right players. They're not getting their pants pulled down for silly players. They're building the projects in place. You look at Brighton's project they've got going on. You look at Forest. You look at Newcastle building it year by year, not going too quickly. And we're just slipping behind again and again and again, and something needs to be done. The board and Levy need to pull their finger out and actually do something. And if not, we need to hold them accountable, Sim. It's as simple as that.
All right.
Us fans need to hold that lot accountable for not giving the managers that we've had over the last 20 years a chance at winning things.
All right. Well, that is your instant match reaction of the